all agree that the three of us have started to get into F1 more, and as well, I know I don't want to bring this into it because it's pretty personal, but we've been getting into the video game as well, right?
Love it.
We've been starting to play league racing, and it is top draw. We love it. It's
Great
the thing I
start,
got on the Xbox for. But because we've now driven these circuits on the game, we can appreciate how good they actually are to race. Like, obviously, watching it and stuff is different, but
Yeah, it's basically like they're doing the actual thing.
yeah, I'm going to pose you a question. I'm going to give you 3 tracks that you would scrap from the calendar, and 3 tracks you'd have twice. Because there's a huge difference in F1 as a worldwide sport to have loads of different tracks from different continents, from different areas. I think if they concentrated it to the good tracks, we'd have such a better calendar. We really would. Yeah. So go on then, lads. We'll do Tolly first, and then Ben. Then
I'll go. So the ones that I wanted again, I've gone with Bahrain. So I just think it's a good track. Lots of chances for overtaking, and we had 2 good races there. I've gone for Portimao, which we don't even know if it's going to be on the calendar yet, but it's tipped to be the one left in this calendar. I thought it was a great race. Had a fantastic start, all kinds of fun, and it was in the wet as well, which probably made it a bit better. And the other one, Spa, because Spa has everything for me. As you know, the fast sector, you got classic corners, good places for overtaking, and it's always going to pull out a decent race at its worst and a great race at its best. And the ones that I wanted to get rid of were France. So I just think it's a bit of a nothing track of, mix of just dreary corners, really.
Yeah, you've got up in my expectations completely now. You've really have.
I've also gone with Russia, which, just to shout out, we did that very recently yesterday on the.
I'm yawning thinking about that track.
Here we go. Yeah,
I'm yawning. I'm so bored about thinking about Russia.
Honestly, I mean, even I was winning the race for a long period of time, and I was bored out my mind because it's just full of 90-degree corners and that are medium speed and nowhere to overtake. So it's not really what you want on the calendar. And my last one was Jeddah.
We don't even know what that's going to look like.
Exactly, we don't even know what it's going to look like. But what I will say is, by having it on the calendar, you're taking away from having another track. And I've had this purely because I noticed that on the calendar there wasn't a German Grand Prix yet. So that means that we're not going to have currently. We're not going to have a Hockenheimring or a Nürburgring race, which Jeddah is definitely taking that away from. So yeah. I'll put that purely down to that.
Okay.
But F1's money. That's F1. It's money.
Hey,
they're going to go to these places where they can fill their pockets.
Yeah, I'm a fan, not an investor. So
yeah. No, F1 should be ran by the fans, but it never will be. It never will be. Tommy, they're pretty good suggestions, to be fair, mate. I'm going to see what Wills has to, conflict that. So
right. Tolly said Bahrain is a track he wants to keep, and I put that down as well. So I'm going to swap it out. I'm going to say I want Brazil. I want Brazil.
It's a good shout.
Beautiful track. I love it. I love Brazil. It's class.
It's so fun.
It's so good.
It always provides good races. That's the big thing.
I love Brazil so much.
I never watch Brazil and I'm like, this is a dual race. There's always something happening. Interlagos is top draw.
Yeah. Number 2, Monza.
Yeah. Is that because you won there on the Xbox?
Little flex in there. I didn't win the race on Xbox, but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. And then number 3, let's have it. Silverstone. Let's do it again. You saw the absolute chaos that it caused. Hamilton popping his tyre, Bottas, all the tyre problems. It was class to watch. It was brilliant.
It was, and a good point was on the other one as well, not the 70th one, the actual British GP. Hamilton had tyre problems again, and Verstappen nearly pipped him. So 2 great races.
I was on the edge of my seat watching the Red Bull. On the comms, they were like 30 seconds away, 25 seconds away. It was brilliant. I was on the edge of my seat. I love it.
It was great to watch.
And then the ones to get right. This is going to be possibly a very controversial one for tracks to get rid of. As a neutral, I'm not that big into F1. I'm going to be honest. As a neutral, I hate Monaco. Get rid of Monaco.
Yeah,
I despise it.
I can see where you're coming from.
Casual fun.
So bad.
Yeah, but I can see where he's coming from because the racing's rubbish.
It's just
It
so
is.
bad.
But I think
On the
think
other end
it's-
of the scale, the qualifying's the best.
yeah.
I don't care about the qualifying.
No,
That's what I said. As a
but that's the
neutral, he
thing.
just turns it on to go, oh, F1's on. Monaco's rubbish. It's awful. Get rid of it.
Not
interested.
Go on. Say your list. I'll have my say afterwards.
Monaco
I'll just slate
won.
you for that.
Russia, like I said, but Yawn City. So like, it's just like, if you're gonna have a
It's
track,
anyway.
don't make it just like, oh, you're going flat out into this corner, you're going flat out into this corner. Oh, there's a braking zone. Oh, like, it's just rubbish. And then at the end, you've got 2 90-degree corners. Who wants to see that? There's no chance for overtaking at all. I want like a last straight head-to-head, and now you've just got two boring right turns at the end. What's the point? It's rubbish. And then number 3 is France. Number 3 is France.
Yeah,
Less said about it, the better.
No explanation.
Just the turns are boring. I just hate it.
I mean, they could. Have you seen Le Castellet? They've got all that track. They've got acres of track to play with there because they've got so many different variations of the circuit, and they make that absolute monstrosity of a track. It's disgusting.
That's a big problem with tracks. Is a lot of the ones that people don't like, you can't change them. Whereas France is one of them that they could change so much.
Yeah,
they could,
you could.
Like you see some tracks that that people don't like at Abu Dhabi, you can take that awful little chicane out quite easily because they still have the road. But other than that, not much to be able to change. Monaco, you couldn't do it at all. France, you could change the whole layout.
Why you just surprise someone and just make it again?
Yeah.
Why not?
Do you know? I'd be up for having it different every year, different circuit. That would be
Imagine
interesting.
That would make
Imagine that.
At least it'd make it interesting rather than
Like a
the
little
same dreary
surprise.
corners
Like a little
that
surprise. I
don't
wonder
work.
what France is going to look like this year. Oh my days, that'd be brilliant.
But yeah, that would be brilliant. That would be like a roll of the dice situation. And if we ended up with that track, I'd be a bit
Very
disappointed.
expensive,
But anyway, yeah. It's going to cost a lot of money, but F1 isn't short of it.
Yeah, we've got Jeddah to pay for it.
We've got, exactly. That's why we have Abu Dhabi and Jeddah, because they can then fund the rest of the calendar.
Yeah, go on, Jack. Say your list, spell.
The ones I'm keeping, I've got to agree with Ben. Brazil, top
Love
track.
it.
I've had some. I remember some iconic races from Brazil. Is that going slowly? All of that shenanigans. You know, you've got the whole thing with Brazil.
love
It's
Brazil
got
so
everything
much.
about it. The atmosphere. The fans are crazy, and it was even better when Felipe Massa lost there in 2008 because the fans went wild, and then Hamilton shut them up. And then I've got my second one I'd like to have twice. It's a different one because I think Brazil, the ones we mentioned, Brazil, Monza, Britain and Belgium, they are the backbone of F1.
Yeah.
They're always going to be in F1. One that isn't, that's reasonably new, is Azerbaijan. Right, and it's a controversial one because many people say it's 90-degree corners, it's boring, but every race we've had there, without doubt, has been interesting, and I think it's becoming a fan's favourite of Formula One.
You see, when you look at it, you probably think, and you go through the track, you probably think, oh, it's a bit of a nothing track, but it provides great racing.
It does.
So there's just something about it that every race is very good, and why wouldn't you want to have two of them?
I know, yeah. Why wouldn't you want to have two of them? And the thing is, I remember some iconic... It's only been in the calendar for a few years, but I still remember some iconic moments from it, like I Am Stupid when he ran into the barrier, Ricciardo going into the back of Verstappen. It's provided so many iconic moments. Lance Stroll getting a podium. Yeah, exactly. Bottas taking Stroll on the last lap. It's caused some brilliant racing. So that's my number 2, and then the other one I'd have twice is an absolute certainty. I think it's the best track on the whole calendar is Belgium. Spa is unbelievable for racing. It's the home of Formula One in my opinion. Yes, Monza you could argue that it's the home. You could argue Silverstone is, but I think that Belgium just.
I probably should have put Belgium down, to be honest. I love it.
You should have.
It's alright. He's got his own opinion.
Yeah. He's not copying. Well done, Wills.
Congratulations.
Some nominations for ones I'd have twice: Austria, America, and Silverstone are all ones that I'd like to have twice as well. But we can only have 3, so I picked those 3. The ones that we couldn't have any on, my least favourite track on the circuit, I think we've all agreed, is Russia. It is just disgusting. The track, there we are. Ben sums it up perfectly with just the yawn.
Yawn.
There we go. I don't know whether he's yawn. It's probably yawning at me, to be fair. The second one I've gone for. the second one I've gone for is Abu Dhabi. Because
It's a spectacle, though, Abu
Dhabi.
It's a massive spectacle. I quite enjoy it.
You see, what the thing I'll say about Abu Dhabi, it doesn't help. It's the last race.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Brazil.
If it was in the middle of the calendar, we wouldn't say it is as bad. Because one thing I will say is that the track could be improved even within the limits of the track itself. Like, you wouldn't have to demolish everything. Like, they have escape roads for different types of corners. And we've had some okay bits there, but problem is it's after Brazil, and it's the last track on the calendar, so it's always an anti-climax.
But why is it the last track on the calendar, Tol? Because money. They'd rather have it as the last one because it's a spectacle. You get more viewers. Yeah. I mean, it's smart business, but at the same time, as fans, we want Brazil as the last track. It has been for so many years. And it's just such a better track. Oh. Imagine a double header at Brazil for the last 2 weekends. How would that be? That would be extraordinary.
Think about it. If we didn't have Brazil as the last track on the calendar them years ago, we wouldn't have had the great moments in 08 of Glock going slowly, in 09 of Button winning from coming quite far back from. But we can't have that now at the moment because we don't have it as the last race.
It's silly. And then I've also gone with France again. So we've all gone for France and Russia. I've actually said for France that instead of using La Castellet, they should use Magny-Cours, which is a track they used in 2008. And it's not been used since then, but it is a phenomenal racing circuit. It provides everything. It's a bit Belgium, whilst also being... I don't know, it's like a cross between Belgium and Silverstone. It really is. It's a bit Belgium. It's not quite Belgium, because Belgium's a different entity.
That's a good point, that the tracks that are in the specific countries they are for the investment that F1 get in them, but that doesn't mean we can't use a different circuit in that country easily. Like in Germany, we have Nürburgring and Hockenheimring, both fantastic circuits, so if you need a race there, you've got two to choose from, and it's the same in a lot of countries.
Well,
that they have at least two.
Italy's the prime one for it. We saw it last season. We saw it in the 2020 season, didn't we?
Exactly.
You know, we had Imola, Monza, and Mugello, and all of them were brilliant races, I thought. But so they're my three. I think we've done a good job there, lads. We've